Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Postgame Show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, as it all started, Ryan Alexander. What's up, buddy?
It's the season is over. They finally put us out of our misery. The season is over, DiNardo. And of course, the Pirates and Yankees had to be the two last teams to play in the regular season. So,
yep.
That's it.
They delayed the game due to rain. Houston and Cleveland actually canceled theirs because they were also in delays, like you've mentioned. This is the officially, well, I guess not technically officially. There's going to be some games tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess it's more like
unofficially,
well
officially,
playoff
this
game.
was the last game of the year.
Yeah, it might as well be a playoff tomorrow. But yeah, the Yankees announcers, and apologies, I don't know who the Yankees announcers are these days. But the play-by-play guys, I was listening to them for a little bit because I've had enough of Greg Brown and pretty much the whole crew there. So the play-by-play guy goes, yeah, the Guardians game was canceled due to rain, and the color guy goes, oh, that's allowed? So they were, yeah, I would have been just fine with them just calling this game too, DiNardo. So, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I wanted this game to go. I wanted it to go on. I wanted to hop on here on the NS9 Postgame Show and discuss this game and find the true outcome was going to happen, and we were blessed with it. Well, it was a loss.
You are a sick man, so that explains a lot.
Yeah. So I guess let's do this before we go any further, Ryan. Let's tell you all about BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. So, I don't know where you want to start with this game. Just to kind of summarize it, it was very sloppy. The field was atrocious. I think there was 13 walks in total that was given up by both teams pitching. And, you know, for the most part, the game was close, tied 4-4, and the Pirates lose fittingly by the bullpen in the 8th inning with bases loaded.
Yep. Yeah, it looked miserable out there. Like you said, I mean, the field was soaked. When the game started, it looked like it still was it looked like it was misting or foggy or whatnot. And yeah, it just looked like a brutal game to end the season on. And yeah, no sandwiches tonight, done for the year. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could start with Bailey Falter. I mean, what was the first 3 at bats? Double home run walk. So not the greatest start for
Falter. It was a walk, double, and single.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was a home run. To lead off the game.
Yeah, it was a home run.
To take the early deficit.
Yeah.
Not a good start from Bailey Falter. Only lasted 3 innings, 4 earned. No strikeouts, 3 walks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ends his season with a 4.43 ERA. And again, you know, it's one of those things where, like, Bailey Falter, if you would have told me he's going to have a 4.43 ERA at the beginning of this year, I would have said, I don't know about that.
Right.
I'll take this for him as a number 5 starter. Again, like, this isn't 4.43 ERA as your number 5 starter. It's perfectly okay. The upside to everything is he might be out of the rotation just simply because of what's coming up, you know, next year and such. And that's without any free agents signings potentially. But you know what? Again, for Bailey Falter, well, I guess what the expectations were for this year, successful season from him.
Yeah. I just, you know, like I said, he got over 140 innings. I was interested to see if he pitched well tonight, if he would end up with an ERA lower than Mitch Keller, but obviously he didn't. But yeah, I mean, look, you go into the season, you get over 140 innings from Bailey Falter and a below 4 ERA. I mean, you're going to take that every day, like you said, as a 5-starter. I'm sure he'll be in the talk next year for the 5th rotation spot. But I mean, at this point, I'm not sure how you put Luis Ortiz in there. Now we don't know if Bubba Chandler will start the year with this team. Probably won't, knowing the Pirates. But yeah, he'll be in the mix. But yeah, you got more than we ever expected from Falter, especially the way the season started.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess think about this game too. Yesterday, Doug and I talked quite a bit because there's a lot to talk about. I mean, there was a Paul Skeens capping off his season. There was a Mike Burrows debut, which he looked good. A lot of offense. Today, it just seemed like the complete opposite. And I kind of say this in the sense too, you're not going to take much away from a single game. And in this single game, there wasn't the greatest performances. But again, this field was a mess. And it showed from both sides, both also. This wasn't just like the Pirates looked awful and this is excusing it. Both teams looked pretty bad. Pitching was pretty bad on both ends too, as far as, walks especially.
Yeah.
But again, Falter didn't look too impressive. The offense didn't look too impressive today either. 13 strikeouts, 5 hits. And again, they had the walks. They're getting on base. They got hit by a pitch twice. They got walked 6 times. Wasn't really able to capitalize too often.
It's been the story of the season. The guys are getting on base, but they just don't really come up with the big hit and everything. And yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see that each team only had 5 hits because, like you said, there were base runners on like every inning. But yeah, the walks were crazy. It was kind of you see these like games at the end of the year. The Yankees are just trying to get through the game without getting somebody injured. And then the Pirates, they're ready to set the tee times for this week coming up. So like both teams just want to get out of there. So you're almost expecting like one of those like 2-hour, 10-minute games where it's just like people are just going down. But this was not that. Like this was a 2-hour and 55-minute game plus the hour and a half rain delay that we had. So it was a mess. And like somebody said in the chat, like I'm surprised they played this game, but I kind of am too, especially with Cleveland canceling theirs.
Right. And I think there was a moment too, at least they talked in the booth that it looked like Shelton and Boone were talking about like, hey, can we just get this to the 5th and call it? Is that possible?
There you go. I'd have liked that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then with a tie as well. Make all the overs and unders going crazy.
Right. But yeah, it was a weird game. And hey, the Pirates were leading and they got to Clark Schmidt, pretty early in the game. I think he went 4. Falter went 3. But he walked 4. I mean, it was just, it was a weird, it was just base runners left and right. So they got the Schmidt early. They had a lead and just, the bullpen didn't close it down.
Yeah. To talk about that a little bit here. So again, like Bailey Falter goes out, he gives up the 4 runs in 3. The bullpen did his job up until the point they didn't. But yeah, like Matson came in. He's shown, again, it's short sample. And I'm not here to say like, okay, he's proven a point to like make a case for next year. What I'm just saying is in this short time that he's been given an opportunity to play in Major League Baseball, he's shown spurts like he looks pretty decent. And then he shows spurts that, okay, this is why you've been a minor leaguer this whole time. Right. But like today he did his job. 2 innings, no hits. He did give a walk. Of course, everyone gave up a walk, but 3 strikeouts. So like he held it along. He did what he needed to do to keep the Pirates in the game, potentially get the victory. And then Joey Wentz came in, didn't look as sharp today, but does go 1.1, a walk, as everyone did, and a strikeout, no hits. But then I want to talk about Colin Horderman a little bit. Colin Horderman comes in with just 1 out to finish the inning, immediately picks off Gleyber Torres, throws him out at third. Torres starts taking off for third base. Great move by Horderman. Turns around, throws him out at third. There's an easy out, and then strikes out the next batter. So 4 pitches he threw, gets a strikeout and 2 outs to finish that inning. Then he comes over to the next inning, strikes out the very next 2 batters. So he's recorded 4 outs, 3 straight strikeouts, and then he hits the next batter. It gets taken out of the game. He looked good, though. He looked good. And if we're talking about anything about capping off seasons and things that do matter, Colin Horderman, since returning from the IL, 9.1 innings. Since Majinski walked everybody, that run is now earned on Colin Horderman. So 2 earned runs in those 9.1 innings. But he struck out 9. He's walked 4, 5 hits. He's looked better since coming back, and he finishes the season with 3.16 ERA. How do you kind of take that?
Yeah, I would have left Holderman in. I mean, to be honest, I was kind of surprised. Like
the obvious there.
It's the last game of the year, so who cares? But I just didn't like. It was kind of weird. Like, why? I mean, he was at 20 pitches, but just leave him in there. But yeah, I mean, Holderman, it's been an up and down year for him. As most, I mean, I think you could say that for pretty much our whole bullpen. Like, there's been stretches where everybody looked great, and there's stretches where they look terrible. And it's hard to get a read on these guys because they've been so up and down. So, like you said, it was nice to see him finish out the year the way he did here with today's game as well. And yeah, I wouldn't have went to Majinski, but especially in a tie ball game where like you might need some more pitchers coming up depending on how long this game goes. But no, Majinski comes in and then walks the farm and gives up the game. And but yeah, I mean, overall, I think, I'm optimistic on Holderman, going into next year, just like hopefully with Baraki and some of these guys that just either were injured this year or struggled, Bednar, like what's his role going to be going into next year? So it's, you have these guys and it's just, I mean, you're going to be riding with them.
Yeah.
Holderman and Baraki and Bednar. So it's like, hopefully they take this, going into the off season and everything, going to spring strong next year. But yeah, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised with Holderman, how he finished out.
Yeah, that's fair. And I just want to throw that at you because I mean, he was pretty much gone for a while being on the IL, and he's been used in like spurts, not in high leverage, of course. So I don't think we've really talked too much about him since his return. But yeah, I mean, again, like at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's a 3.16 ERA, and like that's not bad for a reliever by any means. It's not elite, right?
Yep.
But like what made Colin Horderman this year, I think, is just like he was so extremely good for such a while, and then just extremely terrible for a good bit of time. And like a lot of people like put the collapse on Colin Horderman, and I think it was a big part of it. But at the same time, I think it was a big part of this team being in games and winning when they were early on in the year. So it was weird. Like last year, I felt coming into this year, it's like Holderman, he has good stuff. I just don't trust him totally. And like now they're ending this year, it's kind of the same thing. So now like 2 years
you can't really trust anybody in the pen.
Well, I mean that's the problem. But.
That's the thing. It's like it's been such a roller coaster year for the whole bullpen. It's like, how do you go into 2025 like knowing who you can rely on? It's just I don't know. These guys are talented. You just hope they can put it together next year. Yeah,
and like again, like it happens, right? I mean, that's one of the things I was talking about when Holderman, he went a little longer with his stretch, but like when he was giving those runs, like a lot of relievers, have those stretches. Most do, even your elite ones, they have a rough stretch where they give up a lot of runs, but throughout an entire year, things normalize and they have a solid ERA. Again, like his Holderman's lasted a lot longer than we were hoping. Goes to the IL, but he comes back and yeah, he finished strong. So again, like a shout out to Colin Horderman, I guess, for ending the way he did after that abysmal middle part of this year.
Yeah,
but yeah, so as mentioned, he hit the batter. Would have been ball 4 anyways if he didn't hit him. So like regardless, like he walked him. But then Majinski comes in, back-to-back walks, loads the bases, then gives up the double to Verdugo. Actually, I guess it was a 2-run single for Verdugo, which again, we're talking about like how terrible the field was. I mean, Nick Gonzalez slid. They held up O'Neill Cruz at third. I forget who was held up for third, but the Yankees. Like there's a few times too, you probably are sending someone home, but because the conditions and it's the last game that's meaningless, all the coaches like, no, just stay here. We're not getting hurt. And I felt like Verdugo, same thing like that could have maybe been a double, but regardless, he gets a single, 2-run score. Majinski does finally get the third strikeout to end the inning. Pirates, bottom of the 9th, down 2 runs, Ryan. Top of the order up. There's a chance, right?
Nope.
They
went right down against Clay Holmes, the old friend of the Puckers, Clay Holmes.
Is that also fitting? Like the Pirates season ends with Clay Holmes shutting them down?
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't face Garrett Cole too this series.
Yeah. Nick Gonzalez grounds out. Brian Reynolds grounds out. And then O'Neal Cruz strikes out. 0 for 21 stretch to end the year for O'Neal Cruz also. Not
too encouraging.
Not too good.
He had 2 walks today, but like you said, everybody kind of had a walk or two. Cruz, he finishes 773 OPS, even with that stretch at the end. I think we've talked about him this year and how, it looks like he's taken that step forward, not like a breakout season, but he's putting things together. He's becoming that dude. And I think he has become that. And again, he was injured last year. This was his, first season, kind of his first full season really in the majors. I think next year his thing's just going to be, he just needs to be more consistent. Put it all together, some more power. I think we'd like to see him get to, if he's healthy all year, closer to 30 home runs. He also switched positions, which we mentioned a lot, just out of nowhere. Hey, you're playing center field now. So he had a lot going on this year. So hopefully just next year, I think he just needs to be more consistent, drive that ball like we saw from pretty much most of the season, where he's just, rifling the ball all over the park. But yeah, I think he just needs to be more consistent, mature a little bit, and maybe have his head in games where he's not forgetting how many outs there are, and taking stupid extra bases and getting thrown out. So hopefully, he can just take that step forward. And overall, I mean, it was I'd say a great season by Cruz. Yeah,
I think that's absolutely fair. The ankle injury, I think, is well behind him and past him. I think he's a lot more confident in that also, that he is healthy. And I think that showed as well with being more aggressive and stealing bases at the end of the year. You talk about 30 home runs. I mean, I think you can also see like 30 stolen bases is a real possibility from him. Like having this year, building upon this year, it didn't end well 0 for 21, but I think when you look back on it for the entire year, I mean, he's still a 3.5 WAR player, very productive, all around. And there was true progression as well. Yeah. He did get better. He did get stronger in the year. Hitting the breaking pitches got better. Hitting lefties again became a strength, not just an adequate.
That was a huge thing progression. Yeah.
So yeah, like you're encouraged next year about O'Neal Cruz. Regardless, and 773 OPS is still very respectable. We talk about OPS is Brian Reynolds 791 and Joey Bart. Joey Bart also big day today for him.
Yeah,
he threw out a base runner for 2 hits, double. His OPS at a 799. Yes, the at-bats were limited this year, but in that time, he's shown every bit that, he's a capable player, hopefully, for 2025.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Bart. Like you said, 2 hits today, drove in a run. He threw out a base runner. It just, Bart, he hasn't, I wouldn't say he was like our starting catcher. It was, a half season worth of starts or at-bats or whatever, but he's just been a consistent guy all season. And from picking him up off the scrap heap, which Sherrington has picked up a lot of these guys and not much has panned out, Bart looks like one that's going to stick. And I mean, honestly, where would the catching position be without him this year? Because, we saw, Endy getting injured, Henry Davis injured / might be a bust. You had, Grandal on and off all year. And Bart's just been that consistent guy behind the plate. So it's been huge. I think you're going to go into 2025 with, looking for Bart to take that step forward as well. And yeah, I'm optimistic on him. I think it was a great pickup. I know you were not happy about it. You wanted that Jason delay in there. But that's the thing. Like when they got Bart originally, like when you were arguing about it and getting all upset, my main thing was like, could he flame out and just be a bust? Sure. But like, could him hitting it's in his range of outcomes? That was my whole thing. Like, I just felt like the Giants kind of ditched him a little early on. And hey, maybe one of these new change of sceneries will actually work out for the Pirates on this end. So I always felt it was in the range of outcomes, and maybe they got lucky here and one of these actually hit. So let's hope he keeps building on it for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I mean, you said anything about Joey Bart. Oh, that's true. Grandal picking it up more than just the second half. And again, it started back in June, but he certainly picked it up. And you had 2 very capable catchers. Obviously, Bart went down for an injury for a bit of time also. But like to end the other catching position, like the catching position wasn't a problem this year. Ironically, it really wasn't. And again, like you would figure, like the catching actually being solid all around, and you have a guy like Paul Skeen and stuff like this. This team should have had more than 76 wins, but they don't. Multiple reasons why. We can discuss that later. It's the post-game show. We will, but
coaching.
But regardless, like Joey Bart, successful season. And now you still have a lot of unknowns in Henry Davis. You have an unknown in Endy Rodriguez, but there's certainly talent there. There's still Jason DeLay, who is a good defensive catcher, who to me doesn't like totally hurt your team with the bat like an Austin Hedges, right? So like there's certainly depth there. Joey Bart, though, I think solidifies that. Like you feel comfortable that he can play. We'll figure all the rest around him, but he can play. So that's good. I was happy to see Joey Bart do what he did this year, and I'm sure Ben Cherington certainly was as well. But outside of that, like that was pretty much the offense. And Palacios, I shouldn't say the offense. I mean, Palacios did have a big hit. That was another opportunity. The guys are on. He hits the ball right field, drives in two. That's the guy I was thinking. I think that's when Cruz held up. I could be wrong. Regardless, it was about that time. But
it was early on in the game. But I think you're right.
Big hit by him. He's like the weird thing about Joshua Palacios. I'm not sure whether I'm believing in him or not, and this and that, right? I don't think he should be like part of the Pirates' plans for 2025. He should try to do better. But he was a walk machine this year, ironically, too.
Yeah. No, he was. And like I think he's definitely going to be on a starting but on the bench, coming off the bench or something, some kind of role there. But he's probably going to be in their plans because we'll see, DiNardo, as we go into this offseason, what the heck this team does. But Greg Brown said it. He's like, I miss this guy's energy with Palacios. But yeah, I don't know. It's just,
well, I mean, he's not wrong. I miss the guy's energy too. I just also would like good players on the team. Again, this isn't like an argument if he is or isn't, but I honestly, if you think about it, there might be a real conversation. I mean, at the end of the day, the answer could be no to both, but it's like, would you rather have Palacios or Brian De La Cruz on the team?
Dad, can I come in?
Might come down to that.
Right. No, it was, I mean, I don't got much more to say on that. Hang on. You take over, DiNardo.
Bring her on. I hear her. She's got something to say.
Oh yeah. No, you don't want her on here.
Can I come in?
Hold on.
Anyways, as Ryan takes care of the home life there, again, there wasn't a whole lot to really talk and discuss here. Nick York went over two walks though. Did have a strikeout. Billy Cook had a big double, 2-out double, but they were unable to capitalize and draw him in. Figueroa, as mentioned, goes 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts. I mean, Cruz had 2, Bart had 2, Trillo had 3. Another guy we've been talking a little bit about here at the end of the season, Trillo, how he's going to finish it. 0 for 4 today. I'm sorry, 0 for 3 today with 3 strikeouts. So yeah, not a good game from Jared Triolo. Defensively looked fine though for the few opportunities he had. I guess again, just offensively today, it's really not much to talk about. People just walked right and left, which really was more of a indictment to the pitching. And I think maybe the mound. Again, like I'm kind of excusing like Schmidt, even though he struck out a lot of people, he walked a lot. Everyone was walking people, so I'm not so sure if the mound was in like the greatest pristine situation either. If maybe that alluded to some of this or whatnot, but hey. Jim does want to know though, Ryan, what is your daughter's opinion on Cruz and how he ended the season?
Oh, she loves Cruz. Yeah, just great. She says that Shelton needs to go though.
She's smart.
Yeah, because I said let's Pirates finished 76 and 86, DiNardo.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact identical record as last year. Because today was kind of a big game. Obviously, the Yankees were just kind of going through the motions, so were the Pirates. But really, a lot of people had an over-under bet placed, maybe at Bet Online. And depending on what number you got, today was a pretty big day. So they end up with the same record. But here's the thing. I think we would all agree that the roster is better talent-wise. But you literally have the best pitcher on the planet, if not, you would say maybe, okay, let's say top 3 in MLB right now. And he was here for most of the season. You had Oneil Cruz, who we didn't have last year, and did what he did this year, and you end up with the same record. So what's the problem here? Coaching, right? Managing. I mean, that's what I would put it at.
There's a lot, but that's part of the problem. There's just a lot of problems. Usually you want to find more answers as you progress through a rebuild. And I think right now it might, like, you probably have the same amount of questions you did last year. They might just be differently, like heading into next year, opposed to last year. Like last year asking, where's the starting pitching coming from? There's only 2 guys that are, starting games this year. And as we progress into the offseason, one of them had Tommy John. So he only had 1 healthy pitcher, Mitch Keller. So a lot of it was like, what are we going to do with starting pitching? We don't know. This year, a lot of that's been answered. The starting pitching looks very, very strong, especially going into next year with even others coming up, like your Bubba Chandlers and Harringtons and what have you, right? Oviedo's going to be healthy, hopefully. Mike Burrows shows that he is healthy. He's a potential candidate for rotation help, right? So like the rotation looks very, very solid. Luis Ortiz has a nice bounce back. But like now the questions are, where's the offense? Because you had hopes that, okay, it's the first season for Henry Davis. Things will click. He's a rookie. Andy Rodriguez will come. Well, Andy Rodriguez had Tommy John as well, right? So that's a question mark. But like, I just, there's so many questions right now with the offense that I think the starting pitching you feel comfortable with. The offense, we can't develop. So where's it going to come from? And then with the bullpen that you still, like, you felt good about it, got stronger in the offseason. You felt maybe more question marks this year than you had last year as well.
Yeah. I mean, Jim says it here. They added Skeens, Jones, and Cruz this year, signed 6 free agents, and they weren't better. And there's people like, oh, if they win today, you could say that's improvement. I mean, 1 game, who cares? Number one. But even if they won today against the Yankees team, just trying to get out of there healthy, this season wasn't a success. It's a complete failure in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And you have to get better. You're in year 5. So now all of a sudden going into year 6, you're going to put 15 game improvement and win 90 games next year. I mean, it's possible, but you're going to have
could happen.
You're going to have to add some pretty good talent in this lineup. You
kind of like what the Royals did.
This rotation. Yeah. Like you have the hard part done with the rotation for the most part. You just gotta add to the team, like not just these, let's go get Rowdy Tellez for $2-3 million, like add to the team. And that's why I keep saying, like, I'm worried about this offseason. They have such a golden opportunity here. Like, don't waste this opportunity with Schemes and Jones. Take it. You got these guys cheap. They're on the cheap rookie contracts. Like, you got to take advantage of it. Don't waste this offseason. Don't waste this team. Don't waste Paul Skeens. You can't let him throw 30 starts next year and end up with 77 wins, 76, 75. It's not good enough. You have to be better. You have to figure it out.
78 or 79 next year. Again, like,
if you got to trade somebody, trade Luis Ortiz or trade a bullpen piece or whatever to get a hitter or sign somebody, you're going to have to do it. And I just hope they don't waste it. And obviously I'm very concerned that they are, because it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's what we do here. That's what we do here, as Rowdy would say.
R.I.P. to Rowdy. Yeah. I was hoping maybe he pitched tonight, but that wasn't the case.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't know if they were gonna, like, if Shelton was just gonna, like, once Falter came out after 3, like I didn't know if he was just gonna start, like, unloading everybody in the bullpen, like, here, get everybody an inning or so. And they didn't really do that. Like I said, it went to Majinski at the end, but I don't know. It wasn't like he was just trying to pitch everybody in anything. Are we going to talk about IKF quickly?
Do you want to? I'm going to hold. I'm going to talk slightly about them because I feel like Jim and I will talk more tomorrow in Starbucks. So
I figured you guys are going to cover it.
But let me, take your opportunity. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if anybody has missed it, IKF sits today. He's 4 plate appearances away from an incentive, $250,000, which We just saw this same thing with Rowdy Tellez.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out right before the game, that basically right after the lineup's announced. You see Alex Stump, you see Noah. They tweet kind of back to back the same tweet about, well, the Pirates basically, asked IKF if he wanted to play today.
Here he is.
Or sit down and let the young guys play. Which to me, DiNardo, is ridiculous, number one, because obviously the Pirates released that lineup and then they fed that line to the media. I mean, obviously they were all tweeting it out. That's what happened. Then they said, well, IKF's going to talk after the game about it. Okay, great. We'll see what he says. But if that's really what happened and they asked him, hey, do you want to go in and play for that $250K, DiNardo, or do you want to sit down and let some of the young guys play? Number one, they put him in a horrible spot because if he says, yeah, I want to play, I want my money, he looks like the bad guy. He's greedy. He's out for himself. He's not a team player. So he's in a bad spot by even asking him that. You put him in a bad spot. Number two, I'm assuming by playing the young guys today, you're talking about Cook and York. Well, they didn't give a shit about Cook and York until a week ago. They could have called him up a month ago, both of them, and seen what you had with those guys and played them. So they called him up with 6 games left in the season. So, you don't care about seeing the young guys today. And what's one game going to show you on these guys? So that was ridiculous in itself. And it's just the Pirates, whether IKF wanted to play today or not, or some people said, it's $250,000 to these guys. That's nothing, which it's money. That's $250,000. To me, it's not like IKF's making $20 million. He's not Max Scherzer out here. So number one, I feel like, yes, he wants to get his money. Number two, the Pirates just went through this PR hit with Rowdy Tellez. I mean, Pat McAfee's on there apologizing to Ethan. You got, him on there with Jeff Passan, or Jeff Passan. What did I say? Passan. He's on there they're railing the Pirates about being cheap. You just went through this whole thing. And now you're going to go do it again over $250,000. And whether you sat down and it was your strategy or not to save money, it's the optics are just there. And then to say, well, we asked IKF if he wanted to play today. It's just what? Just let the guy play. I just don't get it. It's just, the Pirates just can't get out of their own way. They just can't. The optics on it are horrible, and they just went through it, and now we go through it again in twice in a week. It's just unbelievable.
For sure. And the way I look at it too is, again, how fitting to end the year. Yep. I like I said, I'll talk more. Jim and I'll probably talk more about on Starbucks, because also it was said that he's going to talk about it after the game. So I'm sure there's more information that's being fed out, if not now, shortly. So to get all the information, I'll make my actual stance. But I agree with everything you said. That is my biggest thing too. Why put him in that position? You're asking because you want the out. You're asking him because you want him to do the right thing and say team first, to give your out to say, okay, well, we asked him, we're not going to pay him. The right thing to do is celebrate it. Hey, you're going to get $250,000 today. Everyone, look at this, congratulate it, make it a thing. Kudos to IKF. We traded for you. We wanted you. Here's your reward, and make it a thing in the clubhouse.
Right.
But they do the opposite.
And even the quote that Shelton had, I think, where he said, I think it was Shelton. He said that IKF was comfortable with sitting today. To me, that doesn't even sound like he 100% said, yes, sit me. He just sounds like he understood the decision. Doesn't it? That's the way that kind of comes off to me.
And again, if you're a team guy, you going to be the person that says selfishly, no, I want to play. Yes, $250,000 to him isn't the same as $250,000 to us. I get that. To you and I, it's certainly not. It's still a big chunk of change, but to him, he might have been you know what? It's better to be the team guy and do that. And that to me is more rewarding than that.
Yeah.
But again, deep down, I would rather have $250,000 than not have it.
Right.
So don't put me in the position to make the decision, do what's right, and put me in the game. If anything, make me be the person to step up and say, no, Shelty, get me out. for whatever your reasons are. Then you're not asking him. He's telling you, and you're respecting, his stance.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And to use the whole excuse about we want to play the young guys and see, you could have played the young guys for the past month and a half. Like, come on.
One last game, also on this terrible field.
Right. On a field
going to be hit or miss on Nick York or Billy Cook or whoever you're talking of.
It's just weird. It's so weird. The whole, we asked him and he's comfortable with it. It's just like, what other team does? I don't, it's just, I know other teams do this with incentives, but it's just the way they go about it. It's just like, DiNardo, let's say you go to tomorrow, if you work tomorrow, like it's your 100th day of the year and you were going to get an extra $1,000 because you worked that day. You show up at work and they say, hey, you know what? Instead of that $1,000, you just want to take the day, just go home. Is that cool? Like, you can be like, well, I was going to work anyway. Give me I want my $1,000. So like, it's it's not $1 million or it's not life-changing money to them, but it's still like, you'd rather have the money than not. So it's just, the whole thing's bizarre. And I'm sure more will come out about it. But again, it's just the Pirates look like the cheap, greedy corporate a-holes, and they are. So,
and just to cap this off too, just put this out there, they're only on the hook for half of it also. If he were to hit that incentive, Toronto would have had to kick in 125 and the Pirates would have had to kick in 125. So like, for the Pirates' sake, it was only 125 that would have had to have paid him. Toronto would have kicked in the other half also. So not the full even 250 that they would have had to have done. Not that it makes it right or wrong or whatever. But to put out there, like, it was only 125, not even 250 that would have came out of Nutting's wallet.
Yeah. But hey, we got to see Nick York with 2 walks over 2 today. So we got to see the young guys. So Ryan, that caps the game. Anything else that you want to talk about? Caps the year. To steal a line from Major League, you can close the book on 2024. Thank God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it closes out with you and I, the OGs of NS9. Yeah. So this was our since 2016, right? Yeah. This is our end of our 9th season. 9th season. What we thought we were getting into in 2016. Yeah, let's start this, Ryan. So the Pirates are great. I'll join. The Pirates are great. This would be the perfect time to start this. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing but losing. I guess there's that 1 year. But that was I was gonna say it wasn't. They did have a 2018 there, 82 and 79, and then but pretty much losing seasons besides that. Yeah. All this talk about firing, Shelton, maybe we need fired. We're not holding up our end either. Our losing record is pretty bad. It is bad. Yeah, so I'll be looking forward for the breaking news this week for Shelton to go. Well, yep. There's so it's the offseason now. So I guess I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for watching this year. These were great. These are awesome. As we jokingly dubbed it, right? The therapy session. A lot of therapy was needed this year. Hopefully not as much next year, but of course, we will be back next year, obviously. But big offseason coming. I guess tonight. Like, why wait tomorrow? I'll put out the nominations. The fanboys will be coming. This upcoming month, October 16th is the date we tentatively have in there. We have new shows. So again, next Friday, the Point debuts. Buckle Banner will be on. Noah Hiles will be on. We have NS9 Jeopardy, which you're hosting, Ryan. Right? Yep. We have a new show people can call in. So the Sicko Sound Off. So again, we're not done. We're still going on here, but the post games are officially done. Pirates games are done. Good, bad, or indifferent, however you feel. Yeah, like I said, huge thanks for everybody who's tuned in. The hashtag Raise It's for the sandwich giveaways all season. All this, subscribers, likes. You guys have made the post games on this for kind of forgettable season. You made it worth it. And like DiNardo just said, all the shows, like that video, all the shows that we're gonna have a ton more stuff this off season. We'll definitely be busy to churn out content, and the off season is really DiNardo's bread and butter. Like this is what DiNardo lives for. The off season player moves. Not as much as Ethan Holohan. Let's put it out there. Not as much as him. The hot stove. This is all DiNardo's MO right here. He loves this stuff. And then, we'll get into spring training and we'll be predicting 95 win seasons and stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun.
At least.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah. And on top of all the shows we mentioned, we already got what's that?
You got to do the wins contest too, right? Who won?
I got to go back and see. Yeah.
Did you mention that?
$25 gift card for that.
Listen.
No, I didn't mention it, but I do know. So I would go back and see who. Usually I do have a brain. I actually did. I knew it was coming, but I forgot this morning to actually
look at it,
see who was all there.
Right.
But anyways, yeah. So we'll announce who wins that. But again, on top of the shows coming out, we already have winter meetings in plans. Jim and I will definitely be there. Spring training will be there again. I know last year we had post-game shows right there live on location in Lecom. Hopefully the same thing this year, maybe even more. But yeah, it's going. We're already in off-season mode. I'm excited.
There you go.
So as Parliament says, if you guys say hit the like button will light up. So make the like button light up, people.
Light it up. All right. I think that's a wrap on 2024.
Let's do it then. Let's get out of here. Tomorrow morning, Jim and I will be on Starbucks for your first show of the off season. And who knows? Maybe there'll be some news to talk about.
Hopefully.
So, Ryan, see you, buddy.
See you, DiNardo. Peace. See you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.